Wednesday. However, you've called these men and women jackbooted thugs. You've called them stormtroopers. Here's the question. Is this the caravan of this election cycle? This, coupled with the law and order message, coupled with Meadows and Pence and Trump all saying some version of, here will be your country under Biden. You are not safe. You're not going to be safe in the suburbs. Does that justify, in their minds, camouflaged, without name markings or identification, some unit badging, camouflaged, militarized federal troops?
Brian, good evening. The President of the United States is a constitutional vandal and a political arsonist. His campaign is failing. He's on track to lose to Vice President Biden, and he has loosed violence in American cities at an epic level. What we're seeing is illiberal, it is illegal, and it is dangerous. When you see these men dressed in those uniforms, it's hard to believe that we're looking at scenes from the United States of America in 2020. This is all very real. The caravan was pretend, it was made up, it was a fiction deployed on Fox News and on right-wing state Trump media, whatever you prefer to call it, but it was imaginary. This is very real. The violence is real, the broken bones are real, the injuries are real. And I think it's important that when Donald Trump loses this election, one of the things that President Biden should do immediately is we should never, ever again see in this country federal officers of any type wearing camouflage uniforms like that. This militarized presence is not something that you see in a healthy democracy. These men are causing chaos in these cities. At the end, when you see assaults being made on federal buildings, on a federal courthouse, vandalism, it'd be totally appropriate for federal officers, for marshals to be deployed in a perimeter around the building to secure federal property. But they're there looking for a fight, looking for a brawl. These men, as has been reported, have no training for the mission. This is thuggery, it's federal thuggery, and it's frightening. Ronald Reagan said that freedom is only one generation away ever from being extinguished. And this should scare the hell out of every American. When Secretary Chertoff, when Secretary Ridge have decried this, we should listen to that seriously. We have a former Hill staffer and a lobbyist who is an acting secretary who's unconfirmable, who is in charge of this out-of-control federal agency. And I think going back to its creation shortly after the 9/11 attacks, the name was always inappropriate and illiberal. Homeland Security, it's not an appropriate name for a federal agency in this department, but the Homeland Security Department needs to be broken up and it needs to be reorganized. It has metastasized into something monstrous. And what Donald Trump is doing here is an outrage against American liberty and an assault on our constitutional values. And that these men are armed like that, facing off against Americans exercising their First Amendment rights, the overreach, the violence, it is out of control, and no American should stand for this.